This is going to be a breakdown-style recap because the season felt hard to follow, thanks to its non-linear storytelling and heavy use of military jargon. The first episode begins just over halfway through the premiere of the original Terminal List series. Ben sits at the funeral of his friend, Boozer. Then we flash back 7 years earlier, where Ben and his SEAL team, including Boozer and Rafe, are part of a prisoner exchange involving ISIS leader Hamid al-Jabouri. They're joined by Iraqi security forces, including Mohammed Farouk, also known as Mo, and Darren Amiri, who also serves as Ben's interpreter. But the exchange is a trap. A suicide bomb hidden among civilians detonates, killing many. Darren loses his leg. 3 months later, James Reece joins them for a training rotation as they discuss al-Jabouri's whereabouts. Darren returns but refuses Ben's offer to relocate to America. He wants to re-enlist. At the base, they're briefed on a weapons dealer named Danawi, who has ties to ISIS. So they go undercover in Mosul to investigate. What they don't know is that Danawi has already gotten to Darren, and forced him to hide a bomb in his prosthetic leg. He detonates it after a call with Ben. Everyone is devastated. Soon after, they find out that Darren's wife was killed and his children were taken. The ISF gets word of al-Jabouri's location, and the team gears up to find him, but they're told to stand down. This sparks Ben's growing frustration with the military, as he realizes al-Jabouri is actually a CIA asset.
Fuck you!
Landry, a CIA contractor, is also in the room. Ignoring orders, they plan to kidnap al-Jabouri and release him again, making ISIS suspect he's working with the CIA, which would lead to his death. But things spiral when Ben spots Darren's daughter inside al-Jabouri's house. He loses control and kills him. The team covers for him, but Ben loses his trident and is discharged. Rafe is removed from active SEAL duty and placed on administrative leave, effectively pushed out of frontline service. On their way home, they meet Jed Havford, who offers them a new path, a way to still help their brothers in the field. The mission? Find and eliminate Danawi. They agree, mostly for revenge. Soon, they're working alongside Mossad operatives Tal and Eliza. They track Danawi to a weapons deal in Austria, chase him down, and Rafe kills him. Havford congratulates them, calling it a successful audition, and orders them to retrieve Danawi's phone. But instead of walking away, Havford convinces them to stay. He mentions Danawi's upcoming meeting with a professor in Budapest, then brings in Mo, the ISF soldier, Ish, and, to the SEAL's annoyance, Landry, the CIA contractor who lost his job after al-Jabouri's death. The mission seems simple. Meet with Molnar posing as Danawi. Find out what the deal is. But underneath, it's much more complicated. Eliza and Tal have their own orders from Mossad to investigate Havford and his mysterious long-term source, known only as the Shepherd. He's been involved in Iran-related missions for 20 years, an unusual record for any CIA agent. The Shepherd is Cyrus Rahimi, a reformist politician on the surface, preaching modernization and diplomacy with the West. But behind the curtain, his true goal is to build nuclear weapons and ultimately lead Iran. He wants to convince the West that his Iran would only use those weapons for defense, not aggression, while consolidating power. He's visited by Youssef, a government minister who shares his ambitions. Meanwhile, Cyrus's brother Vahid is assigned to retrieve crucial centrifuge bearings, components essential for uranium enrichment, and deliver them to Youssef. But Youssef doesn't trust him. He thinks Vahid is becoming too westernized. Vahid warns his brother. Extremists like Youssef will use the weapons. He also complains he can't reach Danawi, their middleman. So what's Havford's play? Simple. He's secretly working with the Shepherd, but with his own twisted plan. He wants to hand over the real bearings to Youssef, betting that Youssef will use them to launch an attack, which would provoke the US to obliterate Iran. It's revenge. Havford lost everyone he served with in Iran. He blames them for a lot of atrocities and believes only total destruction will end their threat. The CIA already had intel on Danawi, but Havford acted first. He builds his own covert team, convincing Ben and Rafe that they're helping their guys in the field. In truth, he orders Danawi's death to cover his tracks, and to steal information about the Molnar meeting for the centrifuge bearings. Next, he recruits more operatives. Mo, Ish, and Landry. On paper, they're chasing intel. It is important for the superiors at the CIA and even Mossad to see that there is a team chasing down the lead. In reality, Havford plans to leak their location to a second strike team, the Khalid Network, who will kill everyone and erase evidence, secure the bearings, and deliver them to Youssef. On paper, a failed operation, compromised by an intel leak. In reality, the bearings go exactly where Havford wants. During the deal, the team gets ambushed and Ish dies. They survive barely, and start to question how their position was compromised. Rafe, especially, grows suspicious of Havford's intel source. Meanwhile, Vahid, in collaboration with the Khalid Network, has procured the real, functional bearings. But Vahid betrays his brother and Havford when he secretly tips off German intelligence, who then plan to deliver fake bearings to Iran disguised as the Khalid Network. A clever sabotage. But Havford, a well-connected man, finds out about the German plan. He doesn't need any disruptions. He sends Ben's team to intercept the Germans, claiming that they were the Khalid network. The official cover, retrieve the bearings, then deliver fake ones, same play as the Germans, just a false one. The real goal is to have them take out the Germans before ambushing them. Before the mission, Ben grows close to Eliza, worrying Rafe, who thinks Ben's vision is clouded. Mossad gives them fake bearings and spyware which Tal plants in Haverford's phone. They ambush the Germans, retrieve the fakes which they believe to be real, and are immediately attacked by a QRF team sent by Haverford and the Shepherd. Haverford personally kills Molnar, closing another loose end. The team survives again. Landry earns some trust after protecting an injured Mo. But Eliza betrays Ben, knocking him out and taking the bearings for Mossad. Haverford tracks her down and points Ben toward her. While Ben interrogates her, they're ambushed again by a Farsi-speaking QRF which Eliza concludes is the Kurdish force. They survive again. But Ben realizes both sets of bearings, the German ones and the Mossad ones, are fakes. For some reason, he still doesn't see that Haverford was trying to get them killed. Especially Ben, who he sees as the biggest liability due to his rage and volatile nature. He tries to kill him with a car bomb, but Ben survives, only because he wasn't driving that day. Eliza, unfortunately, does not. Elsewhere, Rafe tortures the courier who he believes is working for the Khalid network, only to realize, too late, that the man was actually with German intelligence. When he arrives at the rendezvous point with Ben, they both have questions for Haverford, but Haverford is a step ahead of them. He has already found Vahid, retrieved the real bearings, tortured him, and framed him as the Shepherd, the one who had been betraying them all along. He then kills Vahid and reports the Shepherd's death to his superiors and Mossad, who, in turn, tell Tal to stand down. He tells the team the mission is still on. Yusef is waiting at an airstrip. He gives them the real bearings, claiming they're fake. But unfortunately for him, Yusef, never trusting Vahid, decides to test the bearings on the spot, in front of Ben, Landry, and Mo. Meanwhile, Tal is still tracking communication lines. When she notices ongoing communication between Haverford and the Shepherd, she investigates and spots Haverford meeting with the Shepherd. She alerts the team, who launch an assault, killing everyone and recovering the bearings. Haverford escapes blame, framing them as rogue agents. He retires with his cherished CIA star on the wall. But Ben isn't done. He disappears into the wilderness, sets traps, and baits Haverford and Cyrus into coming for him. He holds the Kurdish forces long enough for Tal to trace both men's locations. Ben is rescued by James Reece and his SEAL team, called in by Mo. He confronts Haverford, who welcomes death. But Ben makes a different choice. He calls it in, destroying Haverford's reputation and his legacy. In the final moments, Dasher, who you might remember from the other season, appears, offering Ben another path, another covert mission with a CIA contact. Throughout the season, Ben wrestles with his own darkness, his rage, his disillusionment, and his fading moral line. He's no longer afraid of the blurred edges between right and wrong. And as the show closes, we see it clearly. A dark wolf is born.
Why are you interviewing for Ground Branch?
Because I belong here.
Harry! Why is he advancing?
ماما بن
كلب! انت هتعمل لي ايه انت؟ شيف!
خبرشو بده.
Take the hole.